Yep. We're here. This is a rebranded name. No longer the modern Christian man. Well, I mean, I am still a Christian, but we are renaming the podcast to the Adam Bruton Show. I don't know, I didn't feel as well versed in scripture, and I felt like I didn't really have a handle or experience on what to talk about. So I just decided to talk about the things I know about, and hopefully that's enough for you guys. Hang on, guys. Let me put a. So, hopefully you guys had a really good Christmas. We're not done yet. My family, we got another one coming up this weekend, plus the New Year. Thing about New Year's is like everyone's got the whole the resolution. What are you gonna do for resolutions? Everyone's talking about weight loss. You know, if you really wanted to lose weight, like I've been starting working out a little bit more. Probably can't tell, but if you really wanted that, you'd be more susceptible and willing to do that without a resolution list or whatever. You know, everyone wants to eat healthier or do some stuff like that. So, yeah, Christmas was good, guys. It was awesome. We had I learned that as I get older, I like to. It's more special for my wife and I to buy our kids gifts. That's more important to me than actually getting gifts. I mean, I'm all about like socks and underwear. That's really what I'm all about. So, but a lot of stuff going on in the news today. Not today. This is old news, but so judge is ordering a release of the Epstien client list. We've been waiting for this. We've been waiting too long for this. It's been a really long time. I think it's just a distraction. But they're giving these people the opportunity to redact their names as well. It's not about, your names are going to be out there. There's a long list. You can look at the flight logs online. There's plenty of people that you can see. Bill Clinton for sure. I've seen Naomi Campbell's another one I've seen. Prince Andrew. Prince Andrew's already paid out the lawyer though to kind of clear his name. Even though we all know, a lot of people just are quiet about this, especially since Epstein died. However you think that happened. But they're giving them an opportunity to redact this information and redact their names, but they need a good reason to do so. And I don't think that there is a reason. There's no reason. If you're sexually exploiting children, I don't think there's any good reason to get your name redacted at all. We've been waiting for this since like Ghislaine Maxwell, or actually since Epstein got caught. But people have been interfering, so we'll see. This might just be a distraction of something bigger. Could be having to do with the border being open. Yeah, you never know. A lot of crazy stuff. So I was listening to another podcast today, and it got me thinking. My wife, she works at a treatment center, and a lot of people that a few people that she comes into contact with are, have gone through psychedelic therapy, like ketamine therapy. And I think that that's a lot of people will stand by it. They'll say that it helps with PTSD, it helps with rewiring your brain or whatever, but I don't think that's the case. This is my opinion, in my opinion only. This is nothing. I'm not knocking people who do it, but in my opinion, you're just replacing a drug with another drug. Same with Suboxone, same with methadone, same with ayahuasca, same with ketamine, for example. Matthew Perry just died from ketamine overdose in his hot tub, and he was a Vicodin addict, and I believe he was an alcoholic too. But the thing is about rewiring your brain. There are plenty of other ways you can do that. You can do dialectical behavioral thinking, and that's exercising, either thinking about what you've been through or um, thinking of how to deal with that. I mean, you can't just like reset your brain. You have to ask for those amends. You have to really just forgive yourself. And this is coming from a former addict. I had to sit with a lot of my regrets that I dealt with in my addiction and things that I did that were really crappy. And I was ashamed for sure. Screwing over my family, that's just terrible. But the thing about it is, an addict is not a bad person. It's a person who's sick. And a person who's sick wants to feed their addiction, and they'll do anything to feed it. Doesn't matter who they screw over. It doesn't matter what they do. It doesn't matter if they pawn their wedding ring, their Rolex watch, or a memento from a grandparent, or steal things from family, from friends. And it's all about just being a better person and kind of just coming to terms with what you've done, and you can't change it. You can't change what you did in the past. You can change what you do in the future. That's what you can change. So, yeah, that's a rant. So, but it's recovery is a funny thing, man. Recovery is kind of funny, in that way, how it really makes you look at yourself in a different light, and it makes you look at yourself. And it's a harrowing experience. You can either let it shape you, and you can not change, and then you'll just stay a sick person forever, or you can be ready to lead a better life, be a better person. I mean, not the best person there is. I mean, no one can be perfect. And the only person who was perfect was Jesus. And I've learned to put my trust in him no matter what. It's tough. Some days it's hard. It's totally hard. And it should never be a last resort, but sometimes it is for me. And it's about a better way to live. It's about, you have to change everything about yourself. When you get sober, you have to change everything. You have to change the people you hang out with. You have to change the way you think. I mean, you have to actively try to be a better person. That's tough. I mean, no one's going to do it until they're ready. That's the thing. No one's going to do it until they're absolutely 100% ready to make that change, to put it all down, put all those chemicals down, put the alcohol down, put down whatever your addiction is. I mean, it's not just chemicals. It's not just substance. It's not just alcohol. It could be shopping. It could be eating. It could be, I mean, I guess it ties in with mental health, though. It does, because a lot of the times, I mean, if you want to stay depressed and down in the dumps, you're gonna sit there. You're gonna make excuses, and I struggle with that too. One of my biggest vices is like anger. I've been taking anger management classes, and I've been trying my hardest, and my wife knows I've been trying. And some days are better than others. Some days are not. But it's all about how I react, and not letting things bother me as much. And that's tough, because I've always been like a huge, I've always been a person who cares about what other people think about me. Primarily, I grew up in a situation that I had a lot of love surrounding me. I had a lot of love from my family. Was it healthy? Probably not. I mean, but they did the best they could. And it's all about like breaking those generational curses too. It's all about changing like the way that you actually view things, and the way that you carry yourself as a person in for lack of a better term. But I see this whole surge in therapy, and everyone, the thing is, people are going to do their recovery the way they're going to do it. It doesn't, I'm not here to speak about other people's recoveries. I'm here to speak about my own as a former addict. And I feel the only way to actually stay sober and lead a life of recovery is abstinence from your drug of choice or anything else, really. I mean, I'm not going to stack a different one on top of it and be like, oh, I'm going to go smoke marijuana or I'm going to go smoke weed and that's going to make me better and that's going to save my life. Like, no, that's not going to save my life because I'm crazy without it. Like, I get nuts without it. And the thing is, also finding, like, establishing, I know I don't trust big pharma, but I did my research on finding a doctor who cares as much about my recovery as I do. And there was a time where I had a breaking point where I went to a doctor. I had this, fly by night appointment, and I went anticipating, like, fully going in there expecting to get like a PRN, like an as needed type of Klonopin or a benzo, for my anger or because I was just overwhelmed. I was about to cave, and I went to this doctor that I'd never seen before, and I told him, this is what I'm feeling. I'm arguing with my wife. I'm in a pissy mood all the time. I'm in a bad mood all the time. I just hate my life. I never said I hated my life, but I said, my life is tough. I don't want to do this. I'm sober. That's not word for word, but, and he sat me down and he said, he said, your recovery is more important than you trying to get a PRN right now, like an as needed type of med where you can just pop it. It's a narcotic and you feel it right afterwards, And he told me that, and I thought about it. I'm like, I was resistant at first, but I continued with my SSRIs and completely med free now. My wife and I both are, and I'm grateful for that. We just decided, it was probably time to get off the medication and start doing the hard work, actually changing the behavior, changing the mentality. And I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for God for that, for taking me out of my addiction and, being with me through my addiction as well. I mean, that was big. And, yeah, I'm going to be celebrating like 5 months or not 5 months, 5 years. My wife and I will both be celebrating 5 years in March. And that's something that it's crazy because time flies so quickly. And we've had, 2 kids since then, and they're great and they're doing wonderfully. And I love my family. They keep me going. They're not my crutch, but Jesus is my rock, but they're a close second. And I don't think I would be sober if it weren't for them at all. I wouldn't, because if I go out and if I get high, on meth or whatever, on my drug of choice, if I get high on that, it's like it's all over. And I stopped going to work. I think I'm urinating all over myself. Like I lose control of who I actually am. And it's not worth losing everything. We have a house now, we can buy our kids whatever they want for Christmas. Like, we can buy them toys, we can buy them clothes, we can buy stuff for ourselves if we want to. I mean, we can pay our bills. That's important. I mean, adulting is hard, but it's like I never really had anything until I got sober, and it was a no-brainer for me, really. I'm not saying the sun shines every day, but my best day sober is better than my worst. My worst day sober is better than my best day in my addiction. For sure, because everything was just based around that artificial feeling. But circling back to what I was saying, this spike in I guess I don't know what to call it. It's like pop drug use. I mean, drug use is so socially acceptable these days And the thing is with like ketamine, you don't need to have a prescription to go. You don't even need a note from your doctor. You just go. And I mean, it's every state's different, but I know that for sure out in Hollywood and California, it's like you can go and you can do it, and it's so easily accessible. They put you in a lazy boy and they shoot you up with this horse tranquilizer, for lack of a better term. No matter how controlled it is, and it's like you're gonna hallucinate. You're gonna completely be disconnected from reality, and it's all in the name of getting better. You know what I mean? Or this, it's just nonsense. In my opinion, I think it's nonsense. It's like, we're seeing so much of a spike in fentanyl use and deaths that are rising, and like human zombies out in Kensington, Philadelphia, or Pennsylvania. You know, even out in San Francisco and California and Portland, and you see it's heavy. It's heavy. It's really heavy use, and it's all coming from open borders and people bringing stuff through, and all this riffraff is coming in, and it's dangerous. Like I'd done fentanyl before. This is probably 7 years ago. I'd done it. It was from a doctor, so it was more of a controlled dose. It was a patch, and it was like 6 people smoking it, around a table. So it wasn't like we just slapped a patch on ourselves and we're like, oh, let's party, let's rage. It wasn't even like that. It was pass me that and I'll hit it. But even after a couple, like 12 hours of use, it was starting to take its toll on my body, and I was like, it was nothing to mess around with. And I've heard plenty of horror stories, people who um get exposed to these higher levels, and they don't even have to do it. They just breathe it in, and it's like you're out. You black out for a couple minutes. You overdose basically. Um, even my wife at her facility that she works at, she has to carry Narcan on her now, and that's when it's getting scary, when it starts getting into the treatment centers and people are doing it, and staff has to start carrying Narcan on them at all times in case. Like, you can search people all you want to, but if visitors come in and they bring stuff, it's very under the table. Like, you can just pass it to the next person and that's it. But these are people who have been using it, and their tolerances are so high that those high doses don't affect them as much. But and then you see the spike in, like, what's the new drug now? Ozempic. I'm sure you guys have heard of the Ozempic craze. It's a diabetes drug, basically. It's like, isn't it? It's like diabetes or something like that. And you shed weight. And I see a lot of these celebrities walking around and they look sick. I do a lot of time on social media, and I see a lot of these people that, I'm not going to name any names, but I see a lot of people that they used to be heavy and now they're skinny, and it's like, oh, you look so great. These people say, you look so great. And I see it, and it could be my judgmental mindset, but I'm like, no, there's no way. I mean, these people don't even share their workout routines, so what is it? It could be dieting for all I know, but dieting doesn't make a person look skinny like that, like that skinny, with your bones protruding from your shoulders. But it's a crazy world we live in now. Even with legalization of marijuana, I don't care what people do. I don't care what people do about, marijuana or whatever. I don't care about that. If I could smoke every day without having it affect my mood, I would, but I can't. And but you see a huge surge in, like, weed smokers and people who just broadcast it, and that's whatever you do with your time is your time. That's fine. But a lot of it's starting to harm people now. I mean, they're making these edibles, these edibles that are like, they look like candy, and these kids are probably eating them. And I saw in a group that I'm in on Facebook. It's called Stairs and CPS. That's what it's called. And this mother, I don't. They blurred out her name. I don't know. I'm not here to dox anybody or put anyone on blast. But this woman said that her 18-month-old ate a gummy that was an edible, and it. It's like how could you be so irresponsible? It's like leaving a drink out on the table for a 3-year-old to grab. It's just it's sheer stupidity. That's what it is. It's irresponsibility. That's exactly what it is. It's irresponsible. That's like it's exposing even kids who are exposed to it in the womb. You see these addicts who can't get sober for their kids, even if they're pregnant. These women who are pregnant and they continue to use, and it's like, what are you doing? Like, you're setting these kids up for a really hard life. In reality, that's what it is. It's a hard life ahead of them because those kind of chemicals, they like our brains can't even handle them. And you're putting a brain that's developing, a body that's developing, and you put like meth into that, and it's just it sets that kid up for one of the harder lives. Even alcohol does the same thing. Smoking cigarettes, even. You know, but I this is probably a few months ago now. I think that I heard my wife told me a story. Not a story. It was an article that she read, and I don't know. I think it was Minneapolis. There was a couple that their baby. So the mother was in the bathroom. She was getting high on fentanyl, heroin, whatever. It was a downer basically, and she was high in the bathtub. She passed out. She nodded off. She passed out. And the dad was sitting with the kid out in the living room, and he was an addict as well. And he did his shot, and he nodded off, and he left all of his stuff laying out there. And the kid, I think the kid was like 2 or something like that, and it was hard. This is hard to talk about. The kid went and saw his parents doing this, and the dad left his stuff out, all of his paraphernalia and whatnot, and the kid took a little vial and probably ate it or whatever, ate it, ingested it somehow, and the child overdosed and passed away. And it makes me sick to my stomach to hear stuff like that because it's like the kid doesn't know any better. The kid's a product of their environment, and they see their parents doing this, and that's totally normal for them. And the kid went and did this stuff, ingested it, and literally went and laid down on his dad's chest, and basically fell asleep. Kind of just got tired and fell asleep. And the child ended up overdosing and dying. And so it turned into a big he said, she said. The mom was blaming the dad. The dad was basically not remorseful at all. And that's tough, man. Like, I don't ever want my kids to grow up and see that. I don't ever want my kids to grow up and see their mom or me doing that and thinking that's the norm. And it makes you just want to like throttle these people, Like, how could you be so selfish? You got a kid. It's tough. Man, that's tough. It's so hard. to hear stories like that and think to yourself, like, wow, man, that could have been me. It could have been my kid. But again, we live in a culture where it's so acceptable these days. It's so acceptable to do that, to be under the influence of something, and that's normal. But we live in a world where good is now evil and evil is now good. It's rough, you know. You can't change it. Nobody can change that. It's just if when these people want help, they'll get help. And yeah, that's rough, you know. But yeah, yeah. I promise you guys, every podcast is not going to be this heavy. It won't be this heavy, you know. Um, we'll be tackling modern issues, though, things that we go through and things that we see, news articles. There's a lot of riots going on in the name of protests. The Palestine-Israel thing. Basically, people are standing up for terrorists. Um, I don't know. We're living in a really weird time right now. People can do drugs, and it's all decriminalized now. And I thank God for getting me and my wife out when He did, because it got so messy, it got so rocky so quickly. I think ever since 2020 hit, the world went to crap basically. But such is life. But if you guys like this, drop me a follow. I'll be trying to drop an episode weekly, weekends probably. I appreciate you guys sitting and listening, and keep your eyes out, stay diligent. Be good to the ones that you love, and yeah. Life's hard, but I heard a really good saying. It's probably not appropriate, but I don't know. It's funny because life sucks, but suck harder. Life may kick you in the balls, but kick harder, kick back. Life's crazy, man. But I appreciate you guys stopping in and listening. Hope you guys enjoyed this. I'm gonna try to get on again. Probably we'll see how this weekend goes. But hope you guys have a really good New Year. Have a blessed holiday, a blessed Christmas. Just be good to your family. Be good to yourself. Yeah. Thanks, guys. This has been the Adam Bruton Show. I appreciate you guys coming and hanging out. Peace out.